Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last committee meeting of this session of our House Transportation full committee. We appreciate you being here today. We've got a special guest with us, a young lady named Bryce Maxey, and it's Captain Maxey's daughter. She's a senior in high school. Her father's brought her down to expose her. She's going to head to college, but she's going to come back and work in the General Assembly and later after this experience. So, welcome, Bryce. Thank you for being here today, and we wish you a great day today in the General Assembly. Thank you kindly. We've got a docket before us today. We're going to move through Subcommittee 1, and then we'll move to Subcommittee 2 for reports. These bills have been heard in Subcommittee. I don't know that we'll take a lot of testimony today on the bills. But, pardon? Senator Cosgrove, do you really want to stay? I mean, we welcome your company, but I think we've got your bill fairly well covered. You've agreed to what we're going to conform it and a substitute, so we're good. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate you being here. Don't want to waste your time.
You want to take attendance?
Yeah, we'd like to take attendance at this time if we could. Okay, quorum is present. We have 17 members present. Thank you kindly. Thank you, Robert. We're going to move down the agenda. We'll now go to Subcommittee number 1. Delegate Wiley, Chairman Wiley, has heard these bills. So, Chairman Wiley, will you give us your report, please?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. First bill that was heard in our subcommittee was SB 855, Senator Spruill's bill. This bill prohibits the use of headlights on motor vehicles, motorcycles, autocycles, bicycles, electric personal assistive mobility devices, personnel delivery devices, electric-powered bicycles, mopeds, and motorized skateboards or scooters with aftermarket modifications that make such headlights appear as a blue light. Subcommittee recommended reporting 9-0, and I so move.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion to report. Delegate Bloxham, do you want to speak?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just to make sure, this will help with the problem with those super bright headlights. I know in regulation for state inspection they're illegal, but this will actually allow the state police to stop as a primary offense. So I think this is a move in the right direction.
Yeah, let me
I hope
say,
we support this bill.
Thank you, Delegate Block. Let me say, Senator Spruill will work with law enforcement, Captain Maxey, and state police. We got some language in there that makes this enforceable. So it will be a primary offense. So we'll be able to stop people for this. So, all right, Mr. Chairman.
Recommend reporting 9-0, and I so move.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to report. Go to the electronic voting board. Everyone voted?
Mr. Chair, I vote aye. I can't get my...
Okay. Delegate Avoli votes aye. So that the bill reports 17 to 0. Thank you. Yep. All right, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Next bill being heard was Senate Bill 938, Senator Ruff. This is lights on animal-drawn vehicles. The subcommittee recommended reporting with an amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to adopt the substitute.
We do need to adopt the substitute. With that,
A motion to adopt the substitute?
Motion to adopt the substitute.
A motion and a second. All in favor of the substitute signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bill's properly before us, Mr. Chairman.
So the subcommittee reporting with an amendment, 9-0, and I so move. Do we need to take any other further action, Em, on that, or in regards to?
Mr. Chairman, Delegate Wiley, if you'd like, I can explain the difference between the substitute and the bill that came out of subcommittee. The substitute clarifies that the existing requirements for headlights and rear lights or reflectors also apply to animal-drawn vehicles. Some of the language in the bill as it came out of subcommittee was duplicative, and so this simplifies the bill and clarifies that the lights may be battery-operated.
Okay, thank you, Emma. Mr. Chairman.
That being said, Mr. Chairman, I recommend reporting this bill.
Substitute.
With the substitute.
Report with substitute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to report the bill with substitute. We'll go to electronic voting board. Douglas Avoli, you're a...
Yes.
Douglas Avoli is a yay.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Doug Rivoli's moving in slow motion today, but that's all right. Bill reports 17-0. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Next bill, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next bill is Senate Bill 1058 with Senator Hanger. This bill is in regards to the dashboard cameras obstructing drivers' view. The subcommittee recommended reporting 9-0, and I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to report the bill. Okay, the bill reports 17-0. Mr. Chairman.
Next bill, SB 1238, patroned by Senator Obenshain. This is in regards to motor carriers' financial responsibility. The subcommittee recommended reporting 9-0, and I so move.
A motion and a second. This bill, I think, brings us in conformity with state statute today, so we'll all go to the electronic voting board. Delegate Rivoli's caught up with the technology, I see. We're 17-0. Okay, Mr. Chairman, we'll move to your next bill.
Yes, sir. And last bill on our docket was Senate Bill 1343, patroned by Senator Barker. This is in regards to Commissioner of the Department of Motor Vehicles online access for driving records for minors. The subcommittee reporting 6-3, and I so move.
Okay, we have a motion to report in a second. To the electronic voting board.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, Delegate Bloxham.
Mr. Chairman, just a question. They did turn this into a study. Is that correct? Because the study might show that this is a little harder to do than just saying that you can open it up to minors. Is that correct? Is this a study, or is this directing them to do it?
It's not that. That's not my understanding.
Ms. Ford
Mr. Chairman.
says this is not a study, Ms. Ford. Okay, this is just strictly opening it up.
Okay, so just so you understand, my no vote on this is opening up the DMV to minors could cause some issues. It's going to be a little bit more problematic to make sure that they don't have access to duplicate license and other things that they could get. So it's going to be a challenge for DMV to do this, but I understand the reasoning for it. I just think it's going to be a little more problematic. So that's why my no vote.
Ms. Ford, do you want to expand on that? Ms. Ford, the Acting Director of DMV, welcome.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is correct. We do have to make sure that we don't open up the access to minors to be able to get a duplicate driver's license, for example, because there is the situation where a parent may take the license from the child and they don't do it through any formal means. They don't contact DMV, but they say you don't have a right, and we certainly don't want them turning around and going into our system and being able to get a duplicate or a replacement license, that sort of thing. So it would need to be locked down. The other thing I would just mention is that in order to get an online account, there's a series of steps that a person has to go through. And in this case, it always entails asking a series of questions about your driver history or your vehicle history. We have this already happening with young adults. They don't have enough on their record to be able to answer the questions or for us to even ask them enough questions. So the odds are, practically speaking, they will have to come into a DMV in order to open an account, an online account, as the first time. Excuse me. So at that point, they'll likely go ahead and get their transcript while they're in the office. Subsequently, though, they'll be able to do it online.
So, Ms. Ford, you said this would create a problem for someone reinstating a license that their parents had pulled from them. Do you have any ability to control that action?
We'll work on programming it in a way that tightens it down. It's just a little more programming.
Okay. Committee satisfied with this? Dr. Bloxham?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I mean, no harm to the bill. I just wanted to explain my no vote. It is going to be a challenge. I have full confidence that they can do what needs to be done. I just don't think it's going to be as easy as say it and it will be done. So that's the only reason I was against it.
Everybody good? Any other questions? Doug Herring, you have no question? Being the attorney you are.
You know, if you're,
You good?
took away the license, that's,
You good?
it's gonna be a challenge.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Doug Tater.
I'm curious who brought this bill? What is?
Senator
the
Barker
background?
brought this bill.
I mean, what was?
Senator Barker was asked by some high school students to bring it because they wanted
does sound a little
full
sketchy,
access to it, so.
Mr.
I mean,
Chairman.
That's why he brought it forward.
Sound like something you'd do, Doug Tater.
I have 4 children. I don't know if I took the license away. I don't know. I want them to go get one. Mr. Chairman, I might be joining Mr. Blockton
That's,
with
you're
them now.
entitled. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions, comments? Anyone want to yell Omaha at this time? Huh? Just so you're aware, my side of the aisle has decided to yell Omaha at me because I substitute often and work with people, and they're picking at me, so.
Omaha.
Mr. Chairman, I just suggest that if you take the license and the child go gets another license, just take the car.
Take the car. There we
Okay,
go.
so
There you go. This delegate always has a reasonable conclusion, so thank you, delegate. All right. Any other questions or comments? Bill's properly before us. I think there's a motion.
Yes, there is.
Has there been a second?
Yes.
Motion and a second. Go to electronic voting board. Looks like the bill may have caught a fever, so the bill's going to fail.
Mr. Chair,
Madam,
do you need to declare it failed first?
the bill fails on a motion, on a lack of a motion to report 9 to 8.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I have text. I was asked to contact Senator Barker if there was going to be an issue. Clearly
Sure.
there is. So having voted on the prevailing side on which we failed to report Senate Bill 1343.
Take it by momentarily.
Yes, if we could take it by momentarily.
We will do
I really
that. All right, there's a motion before us to take the bill by momentarily to give consideration to Senator Barker. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, thank you, delegate. I appreciate that. That's exactly what we should do. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we'll take the time if necessary. Okay, we'll move now to subcommittee number 2, who's probably somewhat responsible for the Omaha comment that's being made. So, Mr. Chairman Wyatt.
Thank you,
I'm sorry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Transportation Subcommittee Infrastructure and Funding met this past Tuesday and reported 7 bills out. First bill is Senate Bill 861, patroned by Senator Locke. There is a substitute, and I will
Move the substitute.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Substituting the bill is properly before us.
The-
Before we make a motion on this bill, I think we have some people online who would like to comment. We'll give them just a minute if they would like to speak since they're in the queue.
Mr.
Pardon?
Chairman, would you like me to explain the bill?
Yes, sir. I would like you to explain the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This pertains to traffic control devices monitoring in Planning District 23. The substitute bill allows for a warning to go out prior to an offense if vehicles are stacked in an intersection, specifically due to the expansion at Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel that's being expanded. This bill does have a sunset of July 1 of 2027, and I move to report the bill. It did pass subcommittee 8-0.
Okay, before we second that motion, I have Doug Tater. Do you want to speak on this bill? Are you in the queue to speak? You're not? Well, maybe I failed to take you out of the queue. Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, it is 3 folks signed up online to speak.
Yeah, we're going to give them just a very quick moment. Mr. Tuck, can you summarize very quickly what your concerns or interests are?
Mayor Tuck. Yes.
Mayor Tuck, I apologize. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, good morning. Our concern is the fact that we have traffic gridlock of vehicles trying to bypass the backups at the Hampton Bridge Tunnel. And so what happens is that
Mayor, we lost your audio.
okay, can you hear me?
He's good now. I think, say it again now.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right. We have a problem with traffic gridlock of vehicles that are trying to bypass the backups at Hampton Bridge Tunnel. And so what they do is they come to our city, they block the streets, they block intersections. And so what we're trying to do now is we don't have enough police officers to enforce some of the things we put in place. So this would allow us to use red light cameras for traffic enforcement, for illegal movements, for blocking of intersections.
So, Mayor, you're in support of this bill?
Yes, very much so.
So, Mayor, you understand that we put an amendment on this bill, and the amendment allows for someone to receive one notification of courtesy, and then after that, they will receive a summons?
We are perfectly happy with that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate your being here. Okay, we have Brandy Law. Ms. Law, please summarize very quickly, if you would.
Good morning. I just second the mayor's comments. I'm a deputy city attorney for the city of Hampton, and I'm just here to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Ms. Law. We appreciate you being here, and you support the bill also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, please.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman. Yeah, I'm Jason Mitchell, the city of Hampton. We're also here to support the bill and answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. We appreciate you being here. Okay, I think we've taken all the testimony. Anyone in the audience have any comments, concerns, issues? Seeing none.
Move
Okay.
to report.
Have a motion to report as substituted. Have a second.
Second.
A motion and a second to report Senate Bill 861. Everyone go to electronic voting board. Okay, the bill reports 15-2. Okay, we'll move to the next bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 868, patroned by Senator Cosgrove, and there is a substitute to conform.
That motion to accept substitute?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second?
All in favor? Second.
There's a substitute. All right, everyone in favor of substitute, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the bill's properly before us.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. In this bill, we have conformed, the committee conformed it to Senator Krizik's HB 1995. This bill pertains to passing stop school buses, extends from 10 to 30 days the deadline of issuing a summons for alleged violation for that passing that school bus. And committee reported 8-0, and I so move.
Okay, motion to report as amended. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, the bill, motion and a second. Please go to the electronic voting board. Everyone voted? Bill reports 18-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next bill, Senate Bill 978, patroned by Senator Marsden. This pertains to the keepers of vehicles that are towed, specifically tractor trailers and semis, to allow the owners of the cargo to access and retrieve their cargo when they are in the lot or the yard after the vehicle is once towed. Subcommittee did report the bill 8-0.
So we have a motion to report. Have a second?
Second.
Everyone asleep down on the aisle? I mean, you know. Okay, Bill will have a motion and a second to report the bill. Senate Bill 978, go to electronic voting board, please. Everyone voted. Bill reports 18-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next
Thank you.
bill is Senate Bill 1035, patroned by Delegate McPike. This pertains to bridges of state of good repair, designated bridges with general rating defined by the bill of no more than 5. For at least one major bridge component is eligible for state of good repair funds. These are specifically directed, referring to structural deficient bridges that reach an eligibility to access an increased percentage of dollars to extend the useful life of this bridge from replacement. The subcommittee reported 8-0, and I do see the Commissioner here, if you want
Yes,
to
I would
recognize him
want
and
to
see if he cares to.
Mr. Commissioner, welcome. Thank you for being here. Do you choose to or want to speak on this issue? Oftentimes, when things are in a good posture, it's best not to say anything, Mr. Commissioner, but you're here before us.
Mr. Chairman, I welcome the opportunity to be here before you.
Conversation.
As long as I don't need to speak, I'm good to go.
But you're in good posture with this bill. You see this bill as being
This is an excellent
beneficial.
bill, in my opinion.
Okay.
And Senator McPike and I have worked, and the department have worked well over the last year and a half on the bill.
We appreciate you going to the chairman's office and discussing the bill with him and the intent. Thank you very kindly.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Mr.
you being
Chair.
here. Yes, sir.
So we had that conversation the other day, and I had requested to be included in that conversation because I asked a number of questions about how this has been worked in the past, how it impacted localities, and how it would be expected to impact localities in the future. I didn't get that information, so I am not prepared to vote because I don't have enough information on this. Don't want to necessarily extend the conversation today, but I really would like to know how this impacts the various areas that I represent.
You prepared to ask your questions now? Commissioner Bridge.
Mr. Chairman, I'm available. Mr.
Sure.
Chairman, Stephen
Go
Bridge.
ahead, Doug.
So the questions were how, we know what the various dollars had been to the various transportation districts in the past several years. How did they compare? What I'd really like to see is my Stanton area. And then what would the new model, how would it impact the various districts?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Delegate Runyon, I want to say that outright overall, the State of Good Repair program it has been a successful model since its inception in 2015. As I provided testimony back earlier this week, that from fiscal year 2018 to 23, we've taken our structurally deficient structures from 800 bridges, a little bit more than 800 bridges, down to 500. And more importantly, we have our structurally deficient bridges now programmed all but 91. What this is going to do is provide us the opportunity to be able to address the cusp bridges clear across the Commonwealth. Frankly, we're starting to run out of structurally deficient bridges that this code would only allow the monies to be spent. We have about $220 million that go to this fund each and every year by statute that comes out. The funds, as we remove the floor and the ceiling that would be there, these funds would be then delegated to the respective districts based upon the needs of the structures that are being put into place. What this would mean, again, in the Stanton District does have the greatest number of structures that are there and continues to have a list of structures that are both structurally deficient as well as on the cusp of becoming structurally deficient. The Commonwealth Transportation Board in 2018 or 2019 passed the approach that we're going to take a preservation first approach. It costs less funds to be able to keep those bridges from becoming structurally deficient so we can spread the monies to a greater number of structures. What I'll say is that as we look at this, we will look at Hampton Roads having more of an opportunity to address their structures, Richmond being able to address their structures, and if you give me 1 second, part of our other report would indicate that the Salem district will also see an increase. As far as the Stanton district, it's a nominal change. It's about a 0.1% change in what we would see as being eligible structures coming into that program. Stanton, if we go to this change, we would see about 496 structures being eligible for use of the funds. This is not increasing the amount of funds. It just gives us the opportunity to have more structures available to use the funds in a preservation first approach rather than a full replacement that is about 9 times more expensive than what we would find in a preservation first approach.
Mr. Chair, follow up. And I appreciate that information. That's very helpful because my concern is that as I travel throughout the district, I see signs now that say emergency vehicle weight restriction. And, it's bad enough to impact our school buses and our commercial activities with a lot of agriculture, a lot of issues. And then when we start talking about emergency services. So my concern was, how does it impact? Do I understand correctly that you said it's a minimal impact on dollars, and we have almost 500 bridges that would now be eligible to be included in this program? Is that what I understood?
Yes, sir. We expand the opportunity for those potential bridges to become eligible at that point. Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Delegate Runyon, let me, and Mr. Bridge, if you would stay right there just for a second. I think back in 2015, when we were looking at restructuring the appropriation of the Transportation Trust Fund dollars, we put in place for each transportation district no less than 5%, if I recount, and no more than 17% of the state of good repairs would go to any one transportation district. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, 5.5 and 17.5%.
Okay, thank you. And the reason we did that, Delegate, was the fact that we wanted equity among all the transportation districts. Delegate Abebe, I think, was chairing us at that time, and we negotiated with Secretary Lane, and we felt it was equitable, and it has served us well to this point in time. But I think because of the benefit and the value that we placed in those dollars, we are to where we are today, which now we need some latitude, as we do with Smart Scale. We all understand that Smart Scale has reached a time in the process that it needs to be sort of restructured, reconfigured. The department is trying to do that right now. They're working to do that. But I think this gives some latitude that can bring benefit and value. I think the Stanton District has more bridges than any of the 12 transportation districts, does it not?
Yes, sir.
So,
yes,
Delegate Runyon, we don't want you to be greedy down there. We understand. So, but
Mr. Chairman, I'll take some money too.
But we also provide the most of the food for the Commonwealth, so we would like to make sure that you all stay fed.
We like to eat.
Foley and I share those bridges, and I don't want to drive over one that I'm afraid is going to fall down. So.
Well, I understand and appreciate
Thank
that.
you,
Mr. Commissioner, we thank you. Dr. Runyon, thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Once again, Mr. Chairman, the subcommittee recommend reporting 8-0.
Second.
I have a motion
and I move.
And a second to report the bill. Okay. Everyone voted. Dr. McQuinn, I don't think your votes were, we've got you now. Okay, 18-0. And I apologize, I didn't ask, did anyone else have any comments on that previous bill that we passed? So everybody good? Okay, thank you. Okay, I think now we'll move to the, you got another bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 1051, also patroned by Senator McPike, pertaining to vehicles left in the private property in a right-of-way. For example, those performing service or maintenance, whether it be a broadband provider, a gas company, that kind of thing. This prohibits a trespass tow from removing the vehicle unless it's there for more than 72 hours. Subcommittee reported 8-0, and I so move.
Okay, have a motion to report. Let's have a second. Okay, any questions or comments? Let's go to electronic voting board. Okay, everyone voted. Bill reports.
Mr. Chair, we have a problem.
Yes, Doug Runyon?
Wrong button, I'm sorry. I wish there we go.
Okay. Bill reports 16-2. Okay. Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next bill is Senate Bill 1069, patroned by Senator Saslaw, pertaining to drivers stopping and pedestrian stopping for pedestrian, certain signage that a locality may put up approaching pedestrian crosswalks. Currently, a lot of localities put yield to pedestrian. This will allow a locality to now put stop pedestrian crossing to help reduce any pedestrians that may be struck. The subcommittee reported 8-0, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 1069. Any questions, comments? Let's go to electronic voting board. Okay, the bill reports 15-3. Okay, next bill, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 1085, patroned by Senator Eben. There is a substitute.
Okay, have a motion to accept substitute?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second to accept the substitute. Everyone signify by saying aye. Aye. Bill's properly before us, Mr. Chairman.
This bill, as substituted, creates a work group called by the Superintendent of State Police to reconvene stakeholders to address noise, vehicle noise ordinance or the current statute that may need to be amended or better defined to help encourage maybe some future legislation as it can be addressed. The subcommittee reported as amended or substituted 8-0, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. This is the bill better known as the what bill, Delegate Bloxham? Is this the Omaha bill, Delegate Bloxham?
This is another Omaha.
This is the
call.
Omaha bill.
Yeah.
So, any
Mr.
questions
Chairman,
or comments in regard to Senator Evans's bill?
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Speaking to this bill, I think the audible play that was called on this was dealing with Senator Eben to make sure that we put into place a system where state police could, in fact, stop. It's a primary offense, trying to stop some of this excessive noise that is across their Commonwealth. So just to be clear, we're asking them to come up with a way that we can have stop cars as a primary offense for excessive noise.
And I think that was the Omaha call when I called out to Senator Evans at the podium and said, Senator Evans, if we find a conclusion with the state police, are we all in agreement that this will be a primary offense by which we can stop vehicles that we know are making a lot of noise that need to be corrected? And he concurred that, yes, he agreed that would be hopefully the conclusion of this work committee. I'm also writing a letter to ask that Delegate Carr and Delegate Bulova, Delegate Anderson, and Delegate Bloxham work with the state police to try to craft legislation to bring back next session. You know, you all have done it. We all agree it's a problem. We need to find a path forward. But if we're going to get a path forward, it needs to be a path that we can enforce, that the state police can enforce. So at that appropriate time, when we discuss those bills, when they come, everyone will have an opportunity then to decide if they want to vote for or against the bill. Okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the microphones are a little odd here.
Watts.
As you outlined it, I wanted to make sure, as we were talking about the state police, that whatever you're working out for the state police can be enforced by local governments as police as well, and that I would hope that what you're also looking at is the enforcement that we currently have for all moving violations on private property, like shopping centers and warehouse parking lots, that this also, I would hope, becomes part of the consideration, since that's where a significant problem occurs late at night.
I understand that, Delegate Watson. I would ask Delegate Watson if you will convey that to Delegate Carr, who will be serving on this committee. That would be great, so she could represent your interest there. Okay? Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Delegate.
Thank you.
Herring.
And I apologize because I don't have the full text of the bill with me. Who's going to be part of the work? I understand the legislators and the state police, but who else?
Well, we're going to ask state police to determine if VDOT or whomever. Delegate Evans's bill was very, very broad in nature, and it included just about everybody except the janitors in the building. So we narrowed it down to say that the state police and anyone the state police felt could bring value to the study group. Do you have a recommendation?
Yes, but I had not spoken with the patron. I just, I do, but let me speak with the patron, and maybe I have an amendment on the floor.
Okay, that's good.
There are, needless to say, populations that would be impacted.
Sure.
I think they need a seat at the table, and it would probably ensure more successful legislation.
That'll be fine.
All right.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. We have a motion to report, I think. Do we have a second? Okay. Bill's properly before us. Go to the board. Everyone voted. Bill reports 18-0. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. Delegate Barker, I think you're back with us, sir. Your bill caught a little fever here at the last minute, 1343. And if you want to tell us about your bill then, or would you rather tell us where we feel your bill has caught a fever?
Well, I missed the fever because I had to be presenting.
We're sorry to bring you back, but, you know,
That's
things
right.
come up. So,
Right. I appreciate
Senator
the
Barker,
opportunity.
I think where your bill caught a little bit of a fever was through Mrs. Ford. We asked Mrs. Ford, the acting director of the DMV, to come forward. And there's going to be a process by which a teenager or juvenile can go get information from the DMV, but potentially they could reinstate their license. So if a parent had pulled their license to prohibit them from driving as a behavioral issue, they could then petition DMV and get another license and drive legally. I think there is, and committee can correct me or anyone speak up, it feels it's a difference of opinion. I think that's where the concerns lie, Senator.
All right. What I can suggest to you is to then put a reenactment clause so that we would have to come back next year, and hopefully during the time period between now and next January, we can resolve that issue and maybe any others if there are others that are in place. And we had already put in that it would not be implemented until July 1 of 24. So that does not present any.
That gives you time to work on it to draw a conclusion.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll move to put the reenactment clause on.
so second. We have a motion and a second to put a reenactment clause. Everyone in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Senator. We apologize for you having to walk over here, but we didn't.
I don't mind to walk over here, and I'll be looking forward to working with you pretty soon here.
Delegate Herring come to your defense very quickly. So
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Senator. We appreciate you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Did you have a question, Senator Barker?
Yes, sir, I do, of the
Okay.
senator. What is the purpose of this bill? What are we hoping to accomplish by allowing minors access to their DMV record?
Hopefully better behavior and better consistency with the law. If they've had a couple of speeding or other traffic infractions, I think part of the intent here is to be able to make sure that they understand when they would trigger something that would be more additional. When you add it up to the next infraction, you might decide you don't want to have another infraction on your record.
Mr. Chair, a
Yes, sir.
follow-up question. Does DMV not communicate? It's been a long time since I've had a speeding ticket, but I kind of thought they sent me a little thing that said, you've done something bad.
Yes, well,
if you keep doing something bad, we'll be seeing you.
But I think them being able to go online and check it, if the last time you had one, it was 5 months ago, you may have forgotten, did I have one or two or three or how many? So,
thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you,
We're
Mr.
trying
Chair.
to promote a little safety here. So,
Any other questions of Senator Barker? Thank you, Senator. We appreciate you taking time to come up. All right. That concludes our business, but I'd like to thank the committee and our subcommittee. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to vote on something. Yep. All right. Do we have a motion? We accepted the amendment. All right. Report as amended. All right. We're reporting as amended. So, everyone voted? The bill reports 14-2. Thank you, Senator.
Omaha.
All right. I would like to thank the full committee for their participation. You all were great to be here. I know you have other places to be, but all of you made your best effort to be here and to be at our subcommittees, and I appreciate the subcommittee chairs for their work. Sometimes there can be a little bit intolerable, but I put up with that. But anyway, I want to thank you all, and I think we've done great work for the Commonwealth. Thank you very kindly. Thank you.